Good morning, students. Welcome to our online class. Students, this is your second period and the subject is economics. Students, in the previous period, we have started a new unit and a new chapter, that is Unit 2 from the book 2, that is Indian Economic Development. From that book we have started Unit 2 with the chapter Poverty. And in the first period, the previous period, we have discussed that whom we can call as a poor people, what is poverty line, who will fix the poverty line, types of poverties, that is relative poverty and absolute poverty, how to find out relative and absolute poverty. These things we have discussed. But today, through this recorded video, once again I will recapitulate the things which I have taught in the previous period, and we will move forward to the next topics. Fine, students? Yeah. So, how many types of poverties are there? So, your answer, I know that there are two types of poverties. One is absolute poverty and relative poverty. Absolute poverty and relative poverty. Now, what is absolute poverty? The term absolute poverty is used to refer poverty conditions where an individual is not in a position to acquire. Absolute poverty is a condition in which an individual is not in a position to acquire even the most basic commodities to sustain his life and other normal activities. Absolute poverty is a condition where an individual is not in a position to acquire, to get even the most basic commodities like food, cloth and shelter to sustain his life and other normal activities. That situation we can call it as what? Absolute poverty. Once again I'll repeat. The term absolute poverty is used to refer to poverty conditions where an individual is not in a position to acquire even the basic minimum conditions or commodities which is required to sustain life and other normal activities. Now, for example, as against this, example I'll tell you. Suppose if a person is not having the minimum consumer expenditure to purchase the basic minimum food quantities like cereals, pulses and milk, etc. If he is not having the minimum consumer expenditure, then that situation is called absolute poverty. We can say like this. Against this one, another type, that is what? Relative poverty. Relative poverty is a comparative picture. You have to compare. Relative means what? Comparison. So relative poverty is a comparative picture. Okay, you have to compare and you have to find out. For example, a person A has income of rupees 1000, while B has the income of rupees 2000. A person A is having the income rupees 1000 and a person B is having the income rupees 2000. So A is relatively poorer than B. So A is poorer when compared to B. Thus, the focus here is on comparing the living standards of the people. The concept of relative poverty is often used to study the comparative positions of two regions or two countries. Relative poverty helps in comparing the poverty levels in two regions, REGIONs, two regions or two countries. For example, India is relatively poor as compared to US and UK. So here this relative poverty concept helps in comparing two regions, two countries or two people. We all know in India, all people's income is not same. There are income inequalities are there. So if you see the society, number of families are there, if we compare their incomes, lot of variation, difference are there. Hence, relative poverty exists in our Indian society. Next. Difference between absolute poverty and relative poverty. I'll tell the difference. Difference between absolute poverty and relative poverty. Listen carefully. First difference. The primary difference between absolute poverty and relative poverty is that absolute poverty always focuses on biological needs. The first difference between absolute poverty and relative poverty is what? That absolute poverty always focuses on the biological needs of human beings, of the people. Whereas relative poverty has nothing to do with the biological needs. Relative poverty has nothing to do with the biological needs. Whereas absolute poverty always focuses on the biological needs. That is the first difference. Now, according to the definition, absolute poverty, any person who is not in a position to meet the most basic goods to sustain life, like food, shelter, clothing, is a poor. On the other hand, relative poverty has no reference of biological needs. It is only compare the positions of two persons or two regions or two countries. For instance, in the example considered above, I told you A and B. So A is poorer than B. So that is the relative poverty. A is poorer than because the incomes are different among the two individuals. Now, second difference. In many developed countries, in the Western world, Western countries, in many developed countries in the Western world, most of the people are able to meet their basic biological needs and have the required minimum amounts of food, clothing, shelter and other essential to sustain their lives or themselves. Thus, the level of absolute poverty in these countries is almost all negligible. So, in developed countries, particularly in the Western world, all the people are able to meet their biological needs, such as food, clothing, shelter, and other needs to sustain their life. So, in those countries, the absolute poverty is nearly negligible, not found. Okay, however, the relative poverty persists there in those countries, because in their country, in those countries also, the incomes of all the individuals are not same. Their incomes, their salaries are not same. So relative poverty persists in those countries also. In developed countries, in the Western world countries, relative poverty always persists. However, relative poverty persists as there is a massive income inequality in the society. Okay. Now, third important difference. A reflection on the above point shows that while government policies can help elevate absolute poverty. Government policies, see how clever. It is through government policies, the welfare schemes, the government policies or welfare schemes, we can able to elevate, we can able to eradicate, we can able to remove the intents of absolute poverty in any country or any region. What I want to say, absolute poverty condition is found in countries like ours. So, through government policies, through government schemes, to some extent we can reduce the intensity of absolute poverty. So, a reflection on the above point shows that while government policies can help to elevate, to remove, to eradicate the absolute poverty, whereas the problem related poverty always remain. Government cannot make all the people's income equal. Government cannot make the incomes equal to all the people. It's impossible. So government cannot control relative poverty, but it is through government policies we can control, we can stop, we can reduce the intensity of absolute poverty. So this is the difference between absolute poverty and relative poverty. Fine. I already told you, poverty is a rural phenomenon. That means poverty is existed both in rural areas and in urban areas. But poverty is largely found in, more percentage of poverty is found in rural areas. Hence it is called poverty is a rural phenomenon. It is there in urban areas also, but more poverty, more percentage of poverty is found mostly in rural areas, villages. Now, categorizing poverty, rural and urban poverty. You can categorize poverty into two categories, rural poverty, urban poverty. We are categorizing poverty into two. One is rural poverty, urban poverty. See, what is that one? Poor people can be divided into rural poor, urban poor. Suppose a person is not having minimum consumer expenditure to meet his livelihood or basic requirements and is staying in villages, he is called rural poor. Similarly, the same person, if found in urban areas, he is called urban poor. So poor people can be divided into two types, rural poor and urban poor. In India, almost 80% of the poor live in rural areas. In India, almost 80% of poor people lives in rural areas. That's why I told you poverty is a rural phenomenon, because 80% of poor people are lives in rural areas. Fine. Now, in this 80%, who are all the people are included? Who are the people who included in that 80% of poor people in rural areas? Let us find out. Agricultural laborers or agricultural labor households. Those people who are living in rural areas and doing agriculture, depending upon agriculture. So, agricultural labor households without land holdings. Agricultural labor households without land holdings. Those people who are living in rural areas whose main occupation is cultivation, but they are not having land to cultivate. So, agricultural labor households without land holdings. Agricultural labor households without land holdings comes under this 80%. Plus agricultural labor households with very small land holdings, without land holdings, with very less land holdings, they are also included in this category. Similarly, and non-agricultural rural labor households, they are living in rural areas. Okay, non-agricultural rural labor households, they are living in rural areas, but they are not engaged in agriculture. They are engaged in some other activities without land holdings. Non-agricultural rural labor households without without holdings. Similarly, here including such as village artisans, who will come in this category? Village artisans, crafty people who are progressively losing their traditional employment. Next, this is about rural. Now coming to urban. Urban poor are mostly an overflow of rural people. Generally, why urban poverty increased? What is the reason for the increase of urban poverty? Because most of the rural population they migrated from rural areas to urban areas in search of jobs and employment. So, urban poverty has been increased. Okay. So, urban poor are mostly an overflow of rural poor into urban areas. People migrate from rural areas to urban areas in search of employment. Why they are migrating? In search of employment or better standard of living. Some stick of urban areas. See, some stick to the urban areas. Those who migrating that urban areas to rural to urban areas. Some people work there and come back. Where some people will stay there permanently. They stick to the urban areas, while others continue to move to and from rural areas as employment opportunities arise. Okay. So some rural people went to urban areas. When they will move during non-harvesting season, because in the village there is no work, crops are already sown, they are growing, they have no work. So at that time, meanwhile, they will go to urban areas to do some other jobs to earn some money. Again, those people will come back to the villages, rural areas during harvest season. So some people are like this, whereas some people, they permanently stick to urban areas. If they'll get any employment, they'll stick to urban areas. Okay. Now, in urban areas, they work as vendors. These people who migrated to urban areas in search of employment, what works they adopt generally? Vendors, like milk vendor, okay, like that. Vendors, petty traders, small traders, petty traders, tea stall owners, workers on construction sites, rickshaw pullers, roadside hawkers, road carriers, rag pickers, you studied in English, rag pickers, beggars, shoe shine boys, juta polish karne wale, and so on. Many people are there. So shoe shine boys, beggars, okay, rag pickers, okay, load carriers, okay, roadside hawkers, rickshaw pullers, workers at construction site, tea stall owners, petty traders, and vendors. These are the works done by those people who migrate from rural to urban areas. Fine. Now coming to what is meant by chronic poverty and transient poverty. Very, very important this one. What is meant by chronic poverty? What is meant by chronic? I mean very severe. Chronic. What is meant by chronic poverty and transient poverty? You should know the difference between this one. Chronic poverty means what? And transient poverty means what? Let us see. Poverty can be of two types. Chronic, okay. Okay, students, coming back once again. So, now we will read about chronic poverty and transient poverty. What is meant by chronic poverty and what is meant by transient poverty? So, this may be asked for you in the examination. So, please listen to me carefully. Poverty can be of two types. Poverty can be of two types. One is chronic poverty. One is chronic poverty, which is also known as structural poverty. This chronic poverty can also be called as structural poverty. And the second is transient, which I told you, transient, also called as temporary poverty. I repeat, poverty can be of two types. One is chronic poverty and second is transient poverty. Here chronic poverty is also known with known as structural poverty. We can call chronic poverty with another name called structural poverty. Whereas the transient poverty, we can call this poverty as temporary poverty. Now what is chronic poverty? Listen. Chronic poverty consists of people who are either always poor or usually poor. I repeat, chronic poverty consists of those people. Chronic poverty consists of those people who are either always poor. They are either always poor or usually poor. I repeat again. Chronic poverty consists of those people who are either always poor or usually poor. If one thinks of a poverty line indicating a bare minimum standard of living, then all the people falling below this line would be categorized as chronically or structurally poor. Suppose if there is a poverty line, we made a poverty line to distinguish who are poor and who are non-poor. So the people who are below the poverty line, they all comes under chronic or structural poor people. Suppose if there's a poverty line, that line distinguishes people between poor and non-poor. Suppose this line is passing like this. So above that poverty line all are what? Non-poor. And below poverty line all are what? Poor people. These below poverty line people can be called as what? Chronic poor or structural poor people. The persons who are always poor, the persons who are always poor will be below this line at all times, while persons usually poor can at times move above this line. So I repeat once again, the persons who are always poor, the persons who are always poor will be below this line. Always poor people will be below this poverty line in all times, in all situations. While persons who are usually poor, can at times, sometimes can at times move above this line. They can move above this line. Usually poor people, they can move the above line of the poverty line. Okay. This can happen when some casual workers, when this situation will happen, when the usually poor people can go above the poverty line. See, this can happen when some casual workers are able to acquire a little more money. Whenever casual laborers, if they earn a little more money, whenever a casual labor earns a little more money, then he can shift to the above poverty line. Okay, now this picture may be asked to you in the examination. This picture will be given to you and they will ask who are chronic poor, who are usually poor, like that they may ask. Next. Now second one, transient poverty. We have studied chronic poor. Who are always poor or usually poor. Okay. Now coming to transient poverty. What is meant by transient poverty? I already told you. Another name of transient poverty is what? Temporary. Transient, temporary. So transient poverty consists of those people. Transient poverty consists of those people who regularly move in and out of poverty. I repeat. Transient poverty consists of those people who regularly move in and out of poverty. They may come into the poverty and they may go out of poverty. Sometimes they are above poverty line, sometimes below poverty line. Transient poverty consists of those people who regularly move in and move out of poverty, which can be referred as what? Churning poor. They are called churning poor. C-H-U-R-N-A-G, churning poor. Now, and those who slip into poverty, at times, generally, referred to as occasionally poor. Occasionally poor. Again I repeat, try to understand. Transient poverty consists of those people who regularly move in and out of poverty. Transient poverty means to all those people who regularly move in and out of poverty. In bracket we can write referred to as churning poor. These people are called churning poor. Similarly, those who slip into poverty at times, sometimes, those who slip into poverty at times referred to as what? Occasionally poor. Suddenly they slip into poverty. That's why they are called occasionally poor. Now, small and marginal farmers, seasonal workers regularly move in and out of poverty. Best example. What? Small and marginal farmers and seasonal workers regularly move in and move out of poverty as their incomes keep on fluctuating. Sometimes they receive more income, sometimes they get very less income. Their incomes are fluctuating, ups and downs. So marginal farmers Organization small and marginal farmers and seasonal workers. Generally, they are move in and move out of poverty as their incomes are always fluctuating, not remaining constant. Thus, they can be considered as what? Falling under the category of churning poor. So, small and marginal farmers, seasonal workers, they move in and move out in the poverty. Hence, they can be categorized under churning poor. They can come under what? Churning poor. There are some other individuals who generally remain above the poverty line. There are some other individuals who always remain above poverty line. For long time they were above poverty line, but suddenly they slips into below poverty line. Generally, some group of people who are always found in the above poverty line, but suddenly due to some reason they slipped into below poverty line. See, there are some other individuals who generally remain above the poverty line, but sometimes slip below it. For example, when this situation will occur. For example, because of poor rainfall and low prices, for one's output, the income of farmer might fall considerably and push him below the poverty line. Suppose this year, poor rainfall, very less rainfall, and the price of the agricultural products also decreased. So the farmer will get less income. So his situation which was better earlier, now he will slip into below poverty line. So that is called what? Occasionally poor. Okay. Now, the distinction between chronic and temporary. I repeat, the distinction between chronic and temporary poverty, the chronic and transient poverty is important because the policies to tackle these types of poverty is also different. I repeat, the distinction between chronic poverty and also temporary. Temporary means what? Transient. So the distinction between the chronic and temporary poverty is important because the policies to tackle these types of poverty is always different. The policies to tackle chronic poverty and the policies to tackle temporary poverty, the policies are always different. Now, one question will be asked to you. Write some of the features of poor people, or what are the characteristics of poor people. The characteristics or the living conditions of the poor people. Write any five characteristics or features of poor people. This question will be asked to you. So, I am moving to the next topic, that is, what are the characteristics of the poor? What are the characteristics of the poor? Number one, poor people in developing countries. The poor people in developing countries like India, especially India, possess some specific characteristics. The poor people, particularly in developing countries like India, possess some specific characteristics which clearly distinguishes from the rich people. In our country India, in developing countries, we can easily distinguish between a poor person and a rich person, because the poor person is possessing some distinctive characteristics. In a developing country like India, one can easily differentiate, distinguish, or make easy distinction between poor people and rich people, because here the poor people, they possess some distinctive characteristics. Okay, the following are the distinctive characteristics of the poor. Number one, the income levels of the poor are always low when compared with the rich people. First point, the income levels of the poor are very low. Okay, similarly, most of the rural poor live in kacha hutments. Poor people generally they live in kacha hutments, particularly rural areas. Most of the rural poor live in kacha hutments with walls made up of baked mud or roof made up of what? Thatch, grass. Generally, that means what you come to know? Poor people, they live in hutments. The walls of the hut is made up of what? Baked bricks, and their roof is made up of what? That thatch. So they live in huts. The thatch is made up of what? Bamboo and also wood. Bamboo and wood. Living in such houses becomes very difficult during the rainy season. Living in hutments or thatched house is very difficult, especially in rainy season, where the roof will have leaking and houses merge in water or water will enter into the houses in many areas. Whereas the urban poor mostly live in slum areas. I told rural people who are living in rural areas, poor people who are living in rural areas, they live in hutments in villages. And the walls of the hutments are made up of what? Either mud or what? Baked bricks. And the roof of the hutments are made up of what? Thatch. They use bamboo and other wood also. And in rainy season, living in such houses is very difficult because the water will go into the house, and water will be everywhere in the house. Now coming to urban houses, urban poor. The urban poor people generally, they live in slum areas. They live in city outskirts. They will not have big houses like us. Okay. The urban poor mostly live in slums or quarters. They live in slums or quarters. I mean chawls. Okay, quarters. Not quarter, quarters. Okay, quarter settlements, and often have to contend with appalling overcrowding. Slums means what? There will be overcrowding. More people are there. No proper sanitation, no water supply, no safe drinking water, poor ventilation, poor lighting, no roads, no drainage, like this. At a time, 6 to 7% living in a small room. In slum areas, people live in small huts. In one room, they live 6 to 7%. Even quarters, settlements also, more people, small rooms. Okay. In this area, slum areas and quarters, thus there will be sanitation problem. You will find contaminated water, no proper drainage, no proper ventilation, no lighting, no proper way or roads, etc. The residential sites, where the slum areas are generally found, their residential sites are often illegal. All the slum area people, they construct a small hutment temporary because they are illegal. Government have not given them permission to build any hut in that place. So their hutments or their houses are always illegal and dangerous also. Often there will be problem of fire. Many urban poor, often beggars, do not have their even this facility also. Some poor people, some beggar people, even they do not have that slum area houses also. I repeat, many urban poor, especially beggars, do not have even this facility and are forced to sleep on the open roadsides, parks, railway platforms, etc. Now, another important characteristic of the poor people is what? The poor people are lack of any assets as well as income. The poor people, they lack of any assets, any property as well as income. Similarly, the extremely poor households have a large number of dependents as they generally have more children. Another important feature of poor people, the extremely poor households have a large number of dependents as they generally have more children. Okay, the logic of this behavior is simple. Why they are keeping more children? If more children will be there, then they'll do more work. When they more work, then they'll get more income. This is the tendency. Okay, next one. The desire to have more children has an adverse effect on the health of the women in poor households. Those families who are already poor, and if they desire to have more children so that they can earn more money by doing various kinds of jobs, in that case, the women health will be adversely affected. Okay. Next, the poor are also lacking of human capital. Poor people, they're not having proper education. Their health is also not good. So they're not helping what? Human capital. So poor people are lack of human capital formation. The lack of human capital formation means what? They're not literate. They're not properly educated. They are not properly nourished, hence their health is also not good. So their health, they never contribute anything in what? Capital formation. Next one. Because of the unhygienic conditions in which the rural and urban people live, they are exposed for various health related risks. Poor people, they are generally facing so many health problems, health issues. There are several diseases. It does not mean the rich people are not having diseases. They too have diseases. But poor people, they often have number of diseases because they live in slum areas under unhygienic conditions. They acquire more diseases. So poor people often have more diseases. Next one. Because of the low income levels in the times of illness, the poor people depend on public health facilities. Primary health centers or government hospitals where the services provided are what? In many cases very pathetic. Long waiting hours and frequent visits not only take a toll on their health but also adversely affect their work schedule. Okay, hence they cannot earn regularly. This is also another feature. Now, in general, the poor have less access to publicly provided goods and infrastructure than the rich. And the poor people cannot access the publicly provided infrastructure and all other goods. Poor people, I repeat, the poor people in general, in general, the poor have less access. In general, the poor people have less access to publicly provided goods and infrastructure than the rich people. Next one. Owing to the class and caste prejudice, generally in poor people only people think much about what? Caste prejudice. So owing to the class and caste prejudice, they have prevailed in our country for centuries. People belong to scheduled caste and scheduled tribes have faced social and economic discrimination. Many of these people now belong to the poorest households. So social discrimination is mostly seen in poor people. Next one. These poor people always involved in the vicious cycle of poverty. The poor people are forced to live in what is called the vicious cycle of poverty. They always revolve in the poverty conditions only. They cannot come out from the poverty conditions. So the poor people always grabbed into the vicious cycle of poverty. So what you come to know? What are the living conditions of poor people? Number one, inadequate food, often leading to hunger, starvation, undernutrition. Poor people are they're not getting adequate food. They're getting inadequate food. Leads to what? Malnutrition, undernutrition, leading to hunger, starvation, and many other reasons. Rural people, poor people live in where kachcha house, hutments. Urban people live in where slum areas. They lack of any assets or income, and they often have more children. They are not access to public goods and public infrastructure. Okay, they always work in what? Informal sectors. Poor people always work in what? Informal sectors. Their families are very large. They will not contribute anything in what? Capital formation. These are some of the characteristics of the poor people. Fine. Now the concept of poverty line. This concept of poverty line we will discuss in the next period. So I am keeping here only. I am stopping. So we will discuss the concept of poverty line. Who fixes the poverty line? On what basis we are fixing the poverty line? That we will discuss in the next period. So thank you, students. So take care. I suggest my students to read that Indian Economic Development, that book you please read. So what are topics I covered, you please read once again so that you can understand better. Okay students, thank you. Take care.